Hello everyone, welcome back. My name is Aarna, host of Aarna's News, where on this podcast channel, I aim to eliminate the gender gap in the STEM fields by featuring inspiring female professionals and highlighting their stories and accomplishments to further encourage girls. On today's episode,
it's very important to ask questions and do not be in a situation where you think that, hey, I should not be thinking about it, or what if somebody judges me if I'm asking this question. For me, wherever I am today, networking, I keep talking about it. I also keep talking about mentors. Every part of my life, right, every stage of my life, whether it was me being in school, whether it was me being in my internship, or it was me being in my job right now, what I've seen is that wherever you work, every place encourages a mentorship program where they can go and map you to somebody who is within your domain or who can be outside your domain where you want to explore. Take that opportunity and get a mentor. That can be a game changer.
Hello everyone, welcome back. My name is Aarna, host of Aarna's News, where on this podcast channel, I aim to eliminate the gender gap in the STEM fields by featuring inspiring female professionals and highlighting their stories and accomplishments to further encourage girls. Today, I'm pleased to answer our guest, Pubali Sen. She is a generative AI and ML specialist at Google, where she helps global enterprises successfully adopt AI and ML. With over 14 years of professional and industrial experience as a computer and software engineer, she has a strong background in artificial intelligence and machine learning, cloud development, AWS, EC2, and GCP. Her mission is to leverage her expertise in cloud development in GCP and AWS to deliver cloud-native, cost and performance optimized solutions for complex and challenging use cases. As a trusted advocate, she collaborates with the chief executives, VPs, and directors to define and execute a successful cloud adoption strategy and understand and help them shape their technical roadmap and strategic IT direction. She also enjoys technology, investing in early stealth mode startups, and has a portfolio of several startups such as Sable, Butlr, Buildstream, Spenny, and Handle. So thank you so much, Pubali, for being here today. Before we dive into the questions, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, everyone, and thank you so much, Aarna, for inviting me. I'm Pubali Sen, and I think Aarna has already spelled out everything I do. I do want to add that I love being mom to my two kids. I have a 5-year-old and a 2-year-old, and what defines me is my kids, my family, and the little burning candle that I have inside me. That's technology. That's the love for technology, actually. Yeah.
I love that. So my first question for you is, tell us a bit about your career path.
So I graduated my BTech in India in 2008. Uh, Interestingly, at that point of time, there was a global slowdown. So, as what we are seeing right now, right, there's a lot of questions as to new college grads, what kind of jobs they are getting. It's been a little bit on the lower end. It was a pretty similar situation at that point of time, and even though I graduated like early 2008, uh, we had our joining in summer 2008, but it was actually pushed back and we had to wait for a long time before Tata Consultancy Services called us. So there was a lot of kind of tension, stress at that point of time. Being there for 3 years, I actually realized that I do not like what I'm doing and I'm not happy with the work I'm doing. I mean, it's an absolute place to be. It's a really good company, but sometimes you also think about your growth and what you like to be. And I realized that I needed to go back and I needed to go back and do my masters, and that's what brought me here. Following my love for like continuing to grow individually and professionally. I completed my master's out here, and during my master's, I had a lot of internships that I went through. And then finally, I joined Amazon in the year 2015. So it's been a very profound journey. And since then, I've been with Amazon for 7.5 years, and then I've been with Google now for roughly 2.5 years.
I love that. Like in the beginning, you were working and then you realized that it might not be the right fit for you, and then you decided to just take the initiative and just do what you enjoyed, and I think that's really admirable.
Yes, I took a big risk, but thank God for it.
It paid off, and you're here somewhere where you're enjoying your profession, and I think that's really cool.
Absolutely.
And my question for you is, what advice would you give someone wanting to pursue a career similar to yours, and do you have any tips to succeed?
Network, and talk to as many people you can. Um, Growing up, I always wanted to be an artist, and only to realize that I absolutely not gifted enough. It's not meant to be. What I also realized that we are people, and it's okay not to be good at something. It's okay to like something, and certain things can be worked hard upon. Like you can work hard on it. Two major things and two things that really matter to me is having a good life, having a life where I have security in terms of family and in terms of being a professional. So for me, it's more like following your passion is really good, but you need to hard work and you need to recognize your passion. And with that recognition, there will be multiple failures. There will be days where you'll be like, hey, it's not working now. And it's okay. That's what I would say, that if I were to look back, because there were days in my journey where I was like completely lost. I was like, hey, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm still living with my parents. I'm not liking my job. There was also like, hey, I graduated and I don't have a job. How do I go about it? So it gradually comes together, but there's hard work to it, and there's nothing to stop you if you don't stop working on yourself.
Absolutely. And I think that's really important to know that even if you're doing something that you enjoy, there's still going to be hard days, and just acknowledging that while there might be, high highs, there will be some days that are low lows. And if like just realizing that that's true, but at the same time, if it's something that you enjoy, then it's a route that you should take. Um, and just being open to that, I feel is
Yes,
important.
being open to that and always willing to learn. The biggest tip I would say is that network, because you never know, whom you reach out to and how people can help you. And I can tell you that in different phases of my life, networking has helped me a lot. I remember, like, when I came to San Jose, I went to San Jose State, and before I came here, I was told that, hey, it's very difficult getting an in campus job for somebody who's coming from India to do their master's. What I did is I went to San Jose State University's directory, and I mailed around 200 professors, every technician, and everybody I knew, telling them that, hey, this is my background. I have 3 years of experience. If you're looking for anything, like if you have a job opening, if you have an assistant job that you're looking for, please reach out to me. And you know what? Two people did reach out to me, and I came to San Jose State with a TA job offer, which was like, it doesn't happen. It's not that common.
That's so exciting. And like 2 out of 200 people responded back. That just shows that you got to send so many like cold emails, because, there's a chance where someone's going to respond and give you that offer, which they did in your case. So just having, the guts to do that, I think that's really, really inspiring.
Do that. I would say uh, it, always show up for yourself. It's okay if somebody else doesn't respond. It's completely fine.
I love that. And my question for you is, what is a common myth about your profession that you want to debunk?
Oh, I don't think so. I want to debunk it. It's more like I want people to understand that it's doable. I want to encourage. So I'm in a role which requires me to travel a lot. I'm in a role which requires me to talk a lot, to meet new people as well. And I know it goes along with my personality, but I've also been in a role where I see very less females. In general, tech has lesser females. I do want to debunk the thing that, hey, females are not more like kind of thing that I've seen around here is that, hey, if you are a female, you are naturally going to be inclined to doing something artistic or doing something that's involves a lot of people around you. It's not true. You can do what you want to, and STEM, I believe, is a perfect example where women can bring together the leadership qualities they have inborn in them. uh, in general, we women, we have a lot of empathy. And I'm not saying that the other gender or the other genders, they don't have, but women tend to show empathy more and understand and relate to empathy more. And that is something we bring to table, and we should not be shy of, owning it.
Absolutely. Like our differences is what makes us unique, and just trying to mold yourself into one specific persona is not the best way to go because that just might be how someone else perceives himself. But if you have, your own unique traits, then you shouldn't like somehow like diminish them because that's what makes you you.
And a common, I mean, if I were to debunk something, is that you cannot restart after 30, or you cannot restart after you have X amount of experience. That's not true. Every time you want to grow, every time you want to make a change, you can do it. Let's not forget, KFC was founded by somebody who was in his late 60s or probably late 70s, and he became a billionaire thereafter. So, sorry, millionaire. So it's always okay to start. Age should not
Absolutely.
be. Yeah.
And age is just a number. Well, it's actually just a word, and it doesn't really define what you've done. Like if you want to do something, regardless of, you know, if you have XYZ number of experience, like numbers of years of experience in something, you can still pivot to something else if you want to. Like it's your life and it's your, path that you want to take. And if you want to do something, then go for it.
Yep. Absolutely.
All right. And if you could step into my shoes or younger self, what would you have asked yourself that I didn't?
How do you find your mentors? I think mentorship is very important in our industry. When I talk about mentors and coaches, I'm not only talking about somebody who's going to help you professionally, but also somebody who can guide you as to how you can be a thought leader in whatever domain, whatever expertise that you want to be in. It's very important to talk. It's very important to ask questions, and do not be in a situation where you think that, hey, I should not be thinking about it, or what if somebody judges me if I'm asking this question. For me, wherever I am today, networking, I keep talking about it. I also keep talking about mentors. I Every part of my life, right, every stage of my life, whether it was me being in school, whether it was me being in my internship, or it was me being in my job right now, what I've seen is that wherever you work, every place encourages a mentorship program where they can go and map you to somebody who is within your domain or who can be outside your domain where you want to explore. Take that opportunity and get a mentor. That can be a game changer, because that I've done that, and it has helped me grow professionally. It's also helped me understand different aspects within engineering much better today.
Absolutely. And I think a lot of people have this misconception that mentors should only be people you should like ask things for, like to help you level up. And I think that's not true at all because like sure, you could ask mentors to like get, advice and all of that, but also just have a friend, someone who understands you. I think that's another way mentors can be helpful.
Yeah, and also like having that hacker mindset and builder mindset. I remember when I was in Amazon, there was this mentorship program where you can cross connect with somebody within Amazon, and they pair you depending on your experience and what you would like to do. And we ended up creating this um, amazing kind of a worker space, which was more like beer on tap kind of thing, but it related back to analytics and everything. So it was an IoT project, which was really fun to work with. End of the year, we got like to know other people within the company. We got to work together, and I worked with IoT devices and learned about it, and it was amazing.
Absolutely. Like mentors can be like, as we said before, they can help you like on a professional level, but also on a personal level and finding out things that you probably wouldn't have enjoyed before, like playing with those IoT devices, and learning more about that. I think that's another way that just like talking with people and connecting with others is another way that you can, you know, learn more about yourself too.
Absolutely, 100% on that. Yeah.
And my next question for you is what are the best resources or books that have helped you find your career path?
Um, I like to read a lot, but for me, reading is more on articles, tech articles, etc. If there's a particular book that I read and I had I really liked, there's a book by Mario Salvador, and I hope I've not butchered his name. It's Why Buildings Fall Down. It's a book about infrastructure and what wrong decisions can lead to a debacle when it comes to architecture. It's an amazing book where you can actually tie back a lot of the findings and a lot of the building blocks to leadership, to your professional decisions as well. And I will not say it's very generic, but it's a lot that teaches you how to you deal with and own up to decisions that you make. Right? There might be results that don't turn out your way, and it's how you build after that. So it's a good book. It's a good read,
I love that.
especially for, yeah. If you have a STEM background and if you have you like engineering, probably you're going to enjoy the book more. But I have had other friends read it with a complete different background and they loved it as well. So it's good.
I love that. I'll definitely check it out. Awesome. And my question for you is what do you think is a vital factor that shaped your career? What was your life before learning it, and what was your life after learning it?
Oh, that this question is pretty deep. Life goes on, life moves on. You should be always willing to relearn, unlearn, and learn something new. So there have been times in my career where I've been like, hey, this is not working out. And it's not just that I'm not liking it, it might be also a path where, hey, the industry is changing. And we are seeing that. We are seeing that at this point of time is that upskilling yourself is something that you owe yourself. It's extremely important to be relevant, and it's extremely interesting where technology is going at this time. So I would say upskill, upskill, upskill. It's super important. Also, another thing that we engineers don't generally think about is you're good at something like security, and you're good at networking, or you want to be at security, you want to be in cloud. It's always good to have the basic fundamental understanding of each building blocks, because tomorrow if you need to change, or tomorrow if you want to upskill and try out something else, it's good to have that laid out foundation. I'm not saying that you need to be like absolutely deep in everything, but learn about fundamental stuff and always be willing to explore new technology.
Absolutely. Like always be willing to explore new technology, what you just said there. I think that's really, really a really good quote. And just like being willing to learn something even outside of, outside of school, like graduating, like just reading a book, looking at an article, just talking to other people that you probably wouldn't talk to. Like that's very, very crucial, I would say. Like, and even after like just being a student, I think it's still a skill that a lot of people should retain, um, because you got to upskill yourself.
And that's that's the that's the basic essence of being an engineer as well. And vital factor would also be that understanding is that if something is not working for you and you're not liking it, it's okay to restart. I know there might be other ways and other things that, legally there are concerns, and especially if you're in a visa, there are concerns. Try to work out your options, but don't be in a place that mentally, drains you out. It's not worth the battle.
Absolutely. And because we have some additional time, my question for you is, what's one thing you wish you had known when you began your career?
It's not going to be a cakewalk. Yeah, it's not going to be a cakewalk. So, when I started my career at 22, I faced a very big challenge at that point of time, and we didn't get, like I said, like our placement happened, and we were told that we have to wait a year out, and there wasn't any hiring happening at that point of time. It was a big recession. Uh, I wish I had known at that point of time that when there is a recession, there's also a time when you get out of recession as well. Don't be in a mental state um, where you are like not in control of yourself, and always talk out. We grew up in a society where we were conditioned in a way where we couldn't speak to a lot of folks. Don't be that, and don't be hard on yourself, and just keep going.
I love that. Like, just keep going. And I think it's really important just to know that, you're your own advocate. So when things are difficult, and it's not going to be a cakewalk, as you said, but if you just, reach out for yourself, if you send those emails, if you talk to people, then you'll probably be in a better place than you are at that time.
Yeah.
Awesome. And my last question for you before we end off is, how do you continue to learn in order to stay on top of things within your role?
Feedback. Feedback is the biggest gold mine you can get from your colleagues, from your mentors, and from uh, management in general. I have always had a policy that if I'm working with another team or if I'm working with my peers, I am very honest about asking for feedback as to, hey, what is working, what is not working. Tell me up front, and let's work it out together. Feedback is something that we stop. I've seen something that that people generally don't ask for feedback until like there's an annual review or something. But for me, it has always worked. Like, I like feedback, and I like feedback when people tell me that, hey, probably this could have been done in a different way. And this is also something that goes back to coaching and mentorship, because this is something that was very organic in me, and I always had mentors and I always asked for feedback, and I incorporated their feedback as much as I could. So feedback is something that I would say that is absolutely important for you to grow. Also, another important thing is that you only grow if you enjoy your work and you enjoy people you work with. A lot many of time we forget making relationships within our org, and I feel as that making that extra effort of knowing your colleagues and being in a place where you can hang out with them even without being 9 to 5 with them, I think you have been successful professionally.
I love that. And I think it's really important to know that, like, with feedback, it shouldn't just be like at one specific point in time, but like constantly. Like, you should ask for feedback from multiple people. But at the same time, for me specifically, I've always had like a love-hate relationship with feedback because I get really scared when someone says, "Oh, Arna, your writing is like pretty bad. You have to fix this entire thing." Or something like that, which I know like the person is trying to be like kind and giving me feedback, but at the same time, it's pretty brutal, it's pretty harsh. So
Yeah. It's harsh, but it's also like gives you self-awareness, and it's like it starts with harshness, but I think after a few days, weeks, you actually start thinking about it again. um, be very cautious of extra feedback, or taking those feedback to your heart. Take feedback constructively, in a way that you can polish yourself as much as you can, not that you have to do it.
Absolutely. And, even though it's like the feedback might be harsh and brutal, in another sense, another perspective, it can help you later on. And if you implement that, then maybe you can see where that perspective was coming from, and it might be helpful.
You also get to know a lot of people, because if somebody is constantly giving you feedback that is not constructive for you, it might be also a signal that, hey, maybe I have to think over, right, whether this is the right approach altogether, or maybe I should think about, moving on. So there's a lot of things that can come along with feedback.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Pubali, for being here today with me. Before we end off, do you have any last words to the audience?
Thank you so much, Arna. The only thing I would say that, if you're a young girl or a young boy loving STEM, I am so thankful for that. I mean, STEM deserves and needs young folks, and I'm so happy, Arna, that you're doing this.
Thank you so much, Pubali. I absolutely love talking to you.
Likewise.
Thus, that concludes today's episode. If you want to know more about how I relate to these amazing topics, then stay tuned for upcoming episodes. A free way to support this show is by leaving it a 5-star rating and a review on the player you are listening to. Let me know what you enjoy about this podcast, as it's a chance to tell me what you love about the show, and it helps others discover it too. Once again, thank you for finding me, and I hope we stay in touch with each other. Dito, you're listening to Aarna Sahu, the host of Aarna's News. Toodles!